The Crit Show contains elements of horror, fantasy violence, and adult language. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Crit Show, where we are playing The Clockwinders.
Oh.
Ooh, getting fancy.
This setting is now French.
Oh.
Every NPC... No, I can't.
Got the show into double digits, and he's up in the game.
I'm up every time we roll over into a new 10 slot. The default accent of all NPCs is going to change.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to see how many times I can say wee wee.
Without me giggling.
Yeah. I'm at zero.
I've got a counter. It's like the accident counter.
Zero wee-wees since giggle. Last time, you all made your way into the movement core chamber, found that it was flooded, resolved the flooding, not without some error to begin with. A little bit of wild guessing, but you found a pump mechanism, repaired it, got all the water out of there, investigated the condition, found that it was in similar condition to the first one, actually. And then when Kade headed back out to grab another replacement quartz, you found that Uisine had finally caught up and was shooting the shit with Arctis, who is tending to the bushes. You tried to negotiate a wager to learn some more stuff about the Fae from Uisine, a race to the next core. And in trying to determine which core that ought to be, Arctis chimed in about the one that he thought would be the dopest, which is the Forgotten Tower. From the description, sounds like it'd be the coolest, for sure, because it would be a real motherfucker to accomplish. Through the Fae-ridden mountains, into the floating abyss, and into an impregnable fortress.
Takes a lot to impress Arctis.
He's just like, look, you did not say which one would be good enough. You asked which one would be the coolest. But that is where we find you, Kade chatting outside with Arctis and Uisine, figuring out the terms of your wager.
Maybe not that one. That one sounds like you might have the edge there, Uisine.
I don't know what would give you that impression.
I feel like you might have a pass there to go through.
You think that perhaps other Fae might want to skin you alive, and I might just sort of, bounce in there and say what's up and move on, huh?
Yes, exactly that.
I suppose it's possible. Well, now that I know that that's one of the options that's on the table, I can't imagine giving you what you're asking for any less. So if you want to get something out of a smaller deal, then it's going to have to be smaller stakes.
Ow.
I feel like I've given a weird attitude to Uisine that maybe you didn't have, like a different inflection.
He's grown in these last few days.
What do you think about that?
He has evolved over his travels. He's seen the world.
I've seen the swamp.
Being an alligator's changed you, Uisine.
That alligator smarm. Ugh.
I've got a little more bite.
Oh. Ooh-hee.
I just wanted to know, physically where you popped up. I get you want to keep that a secret. Let's return to this. I'm actually in the middle of work right now. I can't race with you to the Cloud Fortress. Look at Arctis.
The Forgotten Tower beyond the Cloudgate Mountains.
Yeah, that. So, I guess we'll have to wait. To be continued.
Fine.
Fuck you too.
Well, yeah, whatever. I guess I'm not worth your time. Fine.
No, I just...
Surprised you're going to address me that way when you've learned some of my aspects and you know how I might react.
You know how troublesome of a Fae I am.
You know how hot-headed I am.
But it's not that I don't want to make a bet with you. I do. But the thing that I want to know, you don't want to offer up yet until the stakes are much higher, and I got to play the level I'm at, Uisine.
Well, what do I do now?
Oh, we can still come up with something. We can still race to the next place for a smaller thing.
We'll just talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean like, oh, not at all. I just meant they're waiting for me down there.
It's a good thing you clarified.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was about to go full croc, man.
I thought it was an alligator.
No, and if the game master said otherwise, he was incorrect. The aspect is giant croc of shit.
Yeah. So I will doff my cap and head back towards the...
Okay. Uisine, like, posts up laying on top of the hedge to chat with Arctis some more, who kneels back down in his bonnet and starts clipping away at the stray hedges.
The way you said, what do I do now, made it seem like I'm an NPC. If you don't keep talking to me, I cease to exist. I've never seen one be so self-aware.
It's basically just, okay, is this a series wrap on Uisine or not? Do you have more for him, or is it time for him
Please
to vanish?
don't leave me. Please. I can't go back into the darkness.
These pixels don't render if you're not looking at me.
Where are you going? I have to stay close.
Keep the camera on me.
The draw distance.
No, stop. Don't stop.
Okay, so you collect the other spider corpse that is now a quartz and head back inside the movement core and descend back down to the base level with your compatriots and the open inner workings of the mechanism.
I'm like in there, like on my back with my hands up in the workings and just spouting, yes, I'm going to switch around the clog spinner and twist the valve on the... I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't, please. Oh, goodness. Okay. I thought you were actually trying to mess with it. And I mean, not, like, you're a clockwinder, so you have every right to mess with it. But we know what we need. So I thought
What
maybe
if I
if we just
twist
wait
this
till...
right here?
Yeah, I will come down with the quartz. Uisine's here. He made it.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he still up there?
Yeah, he's talking to Arctis J.
So we won?
We did.
What did we win again?
I think that's between you and him, maybe?
Right.
Yeah, I tried to, like, bargain with him for information, but he said the information was too important. Like, as I'm saying this, I'm going to start, like, putting the piece in.
Yeah, give me an overcome with crafts, or in your case, burglary, because you have your stunt.
Yeah.
I think the target... So the first time around, it was like fair difficulty. This one's going to be a little bit tougher. It's still replacing a quartz and cleaning, but the cleaning is a little bit more intense because it was submerged. So we're going to try and beat a 3.
Okay. 4.
All right. Yeah, as you guys are chatting, you start taking action, replacing the flawed parts, and just tending to this thing, getting it back in working order. You can tell that it's not going to be a problem. It is not beyond you.
Yeah, I think this one should be good here in just a second.
Kate, how did you get it to be so shiny? I thought for sure that the water would have damaged it, like, worse than this.
Yeah, so it's a matter of this ointment here. This is like a low-grade water repellent. And so it looks shinier than the last one because it's just so damp in here that you're seeing a little bit of a reflection.
Wow. Well, great job.
Got to make a note of this arbitrary water repellent ointment that exists in the world now. So Kade puts the finishing touches on this movement core, and you all see it thrum back into proper working order. You see that as it does, it actually does repel a little bit of the moisture that is just kind of extant in this chamber. It seems like there's a little bit of a field to it, of self-protection. And I think you guys also kind of hear like a hum back above ground that wasn't there previously.
Can I take a second to just examine it as it is now, like a working proper thing, and just try to get a sense of when someone should come back to it? Okay, this is good for 2 years, or, oh no, this should be done every 6 months. Like, we don't know how often this should happen.
So I will say, historically, movement cores had like detachments. Like they were kind of outposts, right? There was a staff there that maintained them. So they were probably getting attention daily in some fashion. You know, like maybe, all right, Mondays we clean this part of it and Wednesdays we clean this part or whatever. So I think this will have to come from, yes, your observation, like looking at it. How long do you think it can go without having that kind of continuous attention?
Okay.
That being said, what do you think? Let's barter. Let's bargain.
Yeah.
Because I would be inclined to say that, like, you know, tomorrow it starts going bad again, right? Like if they had people maintaining it every day, then like the day you aren't working on it, it's going to start developing problems again. But I don't know how fast.
So how long do we think the one in the clock tower had to be done. Like, that is a much more ideal condition. I feel like if we start there,
Like, how long is that one going to be good for?
yeah,
And then,
like, oh, that one's good for, if someone was coming in and dusting it, so cobwebs weren't getting into the gears, then, oh yeah, 3 months. Or do we even know, like, the shelf life of a quartz, like how long those take before they burn out or fill up?
So part of it is venting the ether, right? Like, it's just, that's part of what people needed to do to the movement cores. Beyond dusting, it does need some, like, hands-on clear out the buildup, clear out this radioactive buildup. So I think that's going to be, like, the key problem that's going to start immediately. No matter the external conditions, the ether is going to start, like, not going where it's supposed to be if somebody's not there to maintain it.
Have we seen, like, I wasn't even thinking of venting the ether as a, like, Fred Flintstone getting off work. I was thinking of it as just something that happened. Have we seen, like, the mechanism of how do you vent the ether from this thing?
I think this is part of what you are doing to them.
Okay.
Like, I think that you understand, like, this is part of what you're having to do in the repairs.
I see.
Is do some cleaning, replace the quartz, and then just, like, get the motherfucker working again. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to flush out the pipes.
So we're doing another hot boxing. We're just venting all the
Yeah.
ether
Yeah.
in this room.
Good.
Yeah, but no, because the ether vents into the planet, right? Like, that's
Yes.
how it stays safe, and that's what the movement cores do to keep you safe. They ideally vent this shit back into, like, the crust rather than leaking it out into the atmosphere. So, I mean, like, considering that, these are still working, they're starting to fail. The planet is starting to rotate.
Yeah.
And it's been many years since anybody was out to tend to any of them. Like, I think, just working off of that timeline, you get the impression that now that you have restored them to good working order, you'd have fucking years again before it was, like, back in this condition, if totally neglected, as it has been.
So I know we're the only team, and we've got a bunch of other places to go. There's a thing upstairs that he steps on that brings us up and opens it up. Could I rig something so that when he stepped on it, it vented? Like, I know he's not going to do any of the fine stuff. He can't clean it. He can't polish it. But can he vent it?
But he couldn't do the, like, levers to get the water out of here. I'd imagine that would have to happen first, right?
Well, this thing wasn't supposed to be flooded. Like, that was just an ancillary effect of, again, it having been neglected.
Oh, I assumed it was intentional because there was, like, a sequence of levers that did the thing we needed to do to access it.
Yeah, I think that was more of a...
In case this happens.
Yeah.
Oh.
In case of flood, here is a pump to... It was a bilge pump, basically, and just everything was broken, so it wasn't doing its job. But this place isn't supposed to flood.
Oh.
That makes a lot more sense because there was 2 feet of water one time, and so they installed this thing as
Yeah,
opposed to, like, I have to swim down to
Yeah.
access this.
Yeah, imagine that, like, back in the good days, when somebody in the detachment got sick for a week, and they came back to it, and there was a little bit of standing water, and they were like, fuck, the seal on the door is going bad. We didn't notice because we check it every day. Well, we better build something to pump the water out in case this happens again.
Yeah. Okay.
But back to your question, I think you could probably rig something so that trigger also, like, does the one mechanical action of just venting the ether back into the core.
Okay.
I feel like that's going to be a toughie, though. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
theoretically possible, and it's a cool idea, but I think it will be a tough roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more reminder, just because of how you worded this.
Yeah.
You guys are, like, the only team. You're the team that's going out to repair these. There are other clockwinders at the Dawn Palace. Like, there's a bunch of indoor cats there.
Yes.
Like, there are other people.
We're just the only away team.
Well, you're the only repair team, for
Yeah.
sure. But, like, now that you have this working, you could maybe go back and be like, hey, we just need to fucking station people out there again. Tend to this every day. It doesn't have to be battalions like it used to be, but if we get one fucking guy on site, that's better than nobody on site.
Just give him some ankle guards.
What?
Because Zul broke his ankle and died.
Good point. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe a buddy system is in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to see if I can link the venting mechanism to the mechanism that raises it out of the ground.
Say mechanism again.
Mechanism again.
Okay. I guess we might have to, again, do like an investigate to determine what this requires before we do a crafts/burglary to do it.
Okay.
So I feel like this could work a couple ways from looking at the skill list. Like, it could, again, be an investigate followed by the crafts, like repairing it. could also see it being like a lore and a crafts if you are more going off of what you already know about how shit works. Like, you're not like looking at everything and tracing lines, but you're just like, I know how a trigger works, so I'm just gonna start doing it because it should work here.
Yeah, my idea is that, like, I know that there's a plate up there that gets stepped on, that activates a thing. Here is a lever that gets pulled that dumps this excess stuff. What can I build in the middle to connect those two things?
Well, I mean, like, it seems like we almost have to reverse engineer it. Like, we need to know how it vents to know how to go around that process or, like, intercept it.
Well, I feel like we know how it vents because we had to, like, that's what you described as part of what we just did was venting it, right?
Correct.
Oh, I thought that meant, like, by cleaning this, by replacing the quartz, by that process, it is now venting properly. I didn't realize it was like there was a handle to pull to like let everything out.
I get it's kind of a little of both of those things. Like, in repairing it and getting it back in working order, if it was working properly, it would be venting the ether back into the planet. And because it wasn't working, imagine like ether like backed up and is leaking out. So in getting it working again, yes, it will start venting the ether back where it's supposed to. But like because of the buildup, you kind of had to flush it. You know, like you had to pull the lever to flush out what's currently in there so that there's space in there for it to start doing it on its own again.
Oh, okay. So it, in and of itself, it vents the ether, but there could be like, can only vent so much. And so if the buildup is higher, that's what you have the lever for to do more.
Yeah, like that's kind of like why the emergency mechanism exists. And again, like, you know, remember that movement cores are ancient and nobody knows what they were originally built for. Like, this is all just kind of the shit the Clockwinders have figured out how to do with it, as opposed to like devised themselves.
Right.
It would vent on its own. That's what it does. And as long as it's well maintained otherwise, it will continue to do its job. But if not maintained, if neglected, if not addressed every day, yeah, it'll start to back up again over time. And then there's like what you just had to do as part of fixing it.
Excess.
Yeah, you had to dump it.
Oh, like a water heater, how water passes through it, but sometimes you have to drain the whole thing to clean it properly because of the buildup.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Maybe like the water softener and how it relates to the water heater. Like if the water softener wasn't being maintained, then the sediment would start to build up in your water heater and you'd have to flush it so it could start doing its job again. But like if the water softener was being maintained, the water heater would just be able to do its job.
Okay. So essentially then, even more so, I'm wanting to make this thing, and it's not like, hey, Arctis, do this every day. It's like, oh, do this every, 3,000 hours. And I just...
3,000 miles.
Yeah. I'll just know that it's venting any extra that is building up because of the fact that it's not being maintained every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if we can't have somebody here to deal with the water softener, we can at least get the full flush.
Like the next best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not the ideal treatment of this device, but it is a workaround that will
get it to last a little longer than what it did this last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So with all that said...
Oh, yeah.
Flush your water heaters, everyone.
Yeah. And maintain your water softener if you've got one.
This is a public service announcement. Yeah, we don't. It sucks.
So trying to piece it together, looking at the two ends, does that feel more like a lore or an investigate?
I've got lore. I can help.
I don't feel like you have this lore.
It says lore on my sheet.
You explain to me right now, as Einon, the mechanisms behind the movement cores.
Listen, I've discovered that if you toggle things in the right order for long enough, you can figure it out just fine.
Yeah, you may drown a friend or two in the process, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
I've been told recently that the Clockwinders were willing to sacrifice themselves for their goal.
For their noble ends.
Man, I feel like I could kind of go either way. I'm honestly leaning more lore now that we've had this like out of character conversation and have a greater understanding of just how they work, that this is like Kade knows this. Like this is shit Kade knows.
This is what he paid attention to in classes.
Oh, sure. I'm going to give you like 30 to 60 seconds more to think about it. Tass?
Ads!
Thank you.
Lead in, back from the ads.
Please leave that in. That is not something we do and probably will never do again. But. All right, Rev, I've got a pitch for you.
Yeah.
Because I could see this being either investigate or lore to determine how it works via like observation or just what you know.
Yeah.
I think if it's investigate, the difficulty will be lower, but it will take more time. I think if it's lore, the difficulty will be higher, but it will take less time. Because I think with investigate, you've got to like get in there, scrutinize, fucking trace the line back to its origin or whatever. Whereas with lore, you're just like, I know how this is supposed to work. I'm going to go for it off that presumption.
Yeah, it's got to be lore because that's how I'm envisioning in my head. It's like I just start adding pieces and like working both sides towards the middle.
How hard could it be?
Yeah,
that's true.
I was prepared to invoke that against you. Okay, so with lore, I think this is going to be an overcome, and I think we're going to try to beat a 3.
Okay.
A good difficulty. Because I think the crafting itself has got to be more difficult, and I don't think it's superbly difficult. So that rules that to be a 4, and therefore this must be a 3.
He's got the concerned look.
Yeah, I almost could not roll worse.
Oh no.
So I'm gonna spend a fate point to re-roll.
What did you roll?
I would have had a flat 0, but I rolled a -3. I think how hard could it be? Like my brain starts to put it together and it doesn't seem right, and I just power through.
Okay.
Oh, no.
No.
It's better.
Technically.
Go on.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Ooh.
Can I spend a fate point to boost this up a little bit?
By invoking what?
Leave it to the professionals. Like, we are clockwinders, and if anybody was going to mess with what clockwinders have set up, it should be clockwinders.
I didn't even think about the fact that I'm like just adding some pieces into ancient machinery. Don't worry about it.
Or repurposing some.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what this does, so it's probably not important.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and spend your fate point.
So that gets me to a 3.
All right. So on a tie, you get what you want, but it's either a minor cost or a lesser version. I think that it is a minor cost, which I think it's going to bump the difficulty of the craft up by 1. So it is going to be a superb.
Terrific news.
But yeah, you have sufficient foundational knowledge that, like, looking this over, you understand how to reroute this mechanism. Now it's just a question of, can you do it?
Yes, I can.
There you go. That's that confidence we need as we roll the dice again.
That's that hubris we like to see.
Okay, go ahead and give me another overcome, this time with crafts, therefore burglary.
Okay.
And you're trying to beat a 5.
All I need is a perfect 6.
Okay.
I was like, I just need to not get a negative score because I've got a 5 in burglary.
All right. It's going to take some time. You are going to be able to do it because you hop right in just with what you know. It takes less time than if you like dove into the mechanisms. So Kade gets to work, rigging up a little like additional mechanism that will link that pressure plate to the emergency vent mechanism deep inside of the core. I think this is going to take at least a matter of hours.
Okay.
So in the meantime, is there anything that Maxine or Einon would like to be doing?
I think I'm staying with Kade and paying attention to what he's doing, but I'm sitting like in between the light from the movement core and my lantern, and I am writing in Rye's journal, just cataloging everything that Kade is doing, all the updates he's making, so that there is record of this and it's information and knowledge that can be passed on. And I flip to the beginning of the journal where it says Journal of Ryzul, and I just write, and Maxine Hollis underneath his name.
Yeah, you are able to shadow Kade throughout this process and document it. Einon, anything you doing?
Yeah, I'd want to go up and talk to Uisine.
Okay. Yeah, he is laying kind of sprawled out on top of the hedges, like leaning on his own hand with a foot up, just chatting with Arctis. They're not both Fae. I don't know why they're pals, but they're pals now.
Yeah. Uisine, my good man, how are you?
He pops up. Have you another game for us to play?
Off the top of my head, no, but I'm sure we could come up with something. I thought we might discuss the terms of our last little bet.
I don't recall agreeing to terms. It was just a challenge of a race.
Yes, indeed. Well, to speak on that, I thought maybe something was owed, something very, very small, on the account that we only beat you here by what I can gauge would be a few minutes.
Do you have something in mind? Last time you defeated me, I gave you a small favor, a token of information.
Yes, I think I do have something in mind. Something very, very small. Something that would never take you out of your way or cause you any strife whatsoever.
This feels like a lead up to something that's not true about, but go on.
No, I assure you. Just
Get in my backpack.
stay with me forever and be
Done!
my little buddy.
Oh, thank God. I'm so lonely.
I get to keep existing now.
All you have to do is turn into a crocodile and let me ride you around in the swamp.
Oh, that's not bad, actually. No, what I had in mind was, as you can see, we've been coming to these movement cores to fix them. I'm not sure if you're aware that they've been breaking down a bit, and as they break down, this world begins to spin, and if it truly begins to spin, that means death for all of us, Fae, human, everyone. We don't want that, of course, so my friends and I are making our way around to fix them, to try to make sure that everyone stays safe, and I just thought, maybe while you are out and about, if you had a moment, if it comes up in your mind, to just mention the three of us, that we're out trying to help everyone and, spread the word that we're on our way to do good works.
I think that as you are talking about, like, you're educating him on, like, oh, yeah, this, I don't know if you know, but they're leaking, and, like, oh, that would be bad for all of us, Faye included. I think you notice that there's a little bit of, like, a smirk on his face, like, you're presumptuous.
Yeah,
like, I think you know more than you do.
Is Uisine a flat earther?
yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Flat convenient.
Yeah, he was like, the planet doesn't spin. The universe spins around us.
You fool.
The universe revolves around me. What are you talking about?
All I need to know about the solar system is that I'm the center of it. No, I think, like, you get the impression that he doesn't necessarily believe that to be true. That it seems like he doesn't think that this would be the end of the Fae, although you think that. And he also seems just a little amused by this request. Like, it's not what he expected. So, he smiles and he says, yes, of course. If that's what you want, I would be happy to spread word of your adventures or misadventures as I go about my way.
I would love that, because I, at least, certainly plan to spread the word about how much fun you've been to associate with. Unless you'd rather I didn't, of course.
No, please, send people to the swamp.
I certainly will.
At best, they're good for a game, and at worst, they're delicious.
Yes. Right. Good.
I wish everybody could have seen the reactions from Rev and Megan silently. Very good. The terms are agreeable.
Marvelous.
He holds out his tiny cherubic hand to shake.
I shake it.
It's doughy. And it fits entirely within your palm.
All right, on for the next game then.
Oh, please. Your friend promised me that he would come back with terms for a new wager.
Oh, I don't know anything about the new wager. We'll wait for him to come up for that, but I thought maybe we do a pull-up contest on Arctus's antlers here.
He hesitates.
Oh, if you're not up for it, that's fine.
He looks at his own little doughy arms and looks at your just like a lean, shredded.
He shifts into a gorilla.
Oh, God.
You didn't think that was my only form, did you?
You fool. Look, I'll do this with you because I'm bored, but I'm not betting anything on it.
I do. I just laugh. All right, you little chicken shit. Let's go.
Yeah, Arctus stands up. He does not divert his focus. He's still like clipping at the hedges, but he stands up so that his antlers are far enough off the ground. And you each grab him and start doing pull-ups. Give me a physique.
Okay.
Let's just roll the dice. Let's just see.
I got a flat 0, but that will not abide. So I'm gonna spend a point to reroll.
Well, let's see what Uisine rolls.
Oh, okay. That's
you
fair.
might beat him because this is a contest.
That's true.
This is a versus. Uisine got a 5. So
oh God.
yeah, he's beating ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna reroll this.
Okay, what are you invoking?
Keen reactions, obviously, because I didn't know how like fast he was gonna start doing this, and I'm just like I'm just going lazy. I was like trying to give him a lead. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go.
I don't think I accept this.
All right, then he cleanly wins.
Okay. Yeah, you both hop up there and you struggle, and he just starts fucking cranking him out like he's in the JROTC. So the next several hours pass, Kade hard at work, and the rest of you just dicking around. But Kade, you managed to rig up this mechanism. What's it look like? Give me a brief description.
Yeah, I think that we've seen the way that this opens up and like it raises out of the ground. I think that there is like a long pole that attaches to whatever that like overflow lever is, and it's stationary at like the base of this so that when he steps on it to raise the whole thing, it pulls that lever down because this piece stays there.
Oh, interesting. So like the rest of the facility's moving and that thing is unable to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that it's as few points of failure as possible.
Yeah. Very simple, very clever. I like it.
Thanks.
You get this mechanism operational. Maxine, you are able to conclude your documentation of the process. You see Einon walk back over shamefully, having been spanked at pull-ups by a gnome. And with this core fully functioning and everything up and running again, I think it's time for advancement.
What?
Yeah. So there are sort of level up mechanics in this game, in the Fate core system. When you hit certain milestones, your character can grow. So milestones can be one of like 3 tiers. There are minor milestones, which are just like when a little piece of the story has been resolved. There are significant milestones, which are like the end of a scenario, maybe the conclusion of a big plot event. And then there are major milestones where like the world or the campaign has been like shaken up by these events. I think we are going to consider the repair of another movement core a significant milestone. Even though this does have big ramifications for the world, it's not like spreading yet. Like things haven't been shaken up yet. So I don't think this is quite major, but it is still greater than minor. We're going to fall in the middle here. So when we hit a milestone, you get the benefits of that milestone and the benefits of any that would precede it. So at a significant milestone, you will get the significant milestone benefits and the minor milestone benefits. Note all these down or keep these in mind. I'll tell you what all of these benefits are first, and then we can dive in and you can make your selections based off of them. For a minor milestone, you can do one of the following. You can switch the rank values of any 2 skills, or replace an average +1 skill with one that isn't on your sheet. You can change any single stunt for another stunt. You could purchase a new stunt, provided you have the refresh to do so. So if you've got enough refresh in your pool, you could permanently spend one of them, lower your pool by 1 to have a new stunt. Or you could rename a character aspect that is not your high concept. And then in addition to whichever one of those you pick, you could also clear a sticky condition. So minor milestones are good for just like making the small tweaks to things about your character that like aren't true anymore or aren't working out how you thought. Like if there's a skill that you're not using at all, but you wish you had this one. If your relationship aspect with somebody doesn't make sense anymore, minor milestones can let you fix those things up. For a significant milestone, you get both of these benefits. You get 1 additional skill point, which you can either spend to buy a new skill at average, which is +1, or increase an existing skill by 1. And if you had any lasting conditions, you could check the first box to start the recovery process right away without having to like meet the narrative conditions that you would normally have to meet to do so. So the adding a skill point, I'm sure, is something that everybody's going to want to do. The benefits for minor milestone, you might not actually even take advantage of if like they don't make sense. Does anybody know what they want to do with these benefits?
Yeah, I don't think I need to do anything with the minor. Everything sort of checks out the way I like it still. Nothing seems to have changed. But with my skill point, I think after all of this business with like tracking trackers, like actually hunting people that are very good at being hunters, I'm going to go ahead and add stealth. So I'm going to put, 1 point into that.
Cool.
I'm going to swap the points of my shoot and my notice. So my shoot's going to go down 1 and my notice is going to go up 1. And then I'm going to buy physique. Like we've been out in the world. We've done a lot of walking, a lot of lifting heavy things.
Yeah. Get those games right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also going to take physique, but I'm actually going to use the minor milestone to swap out crafts to make it a new average skill. And then I'll use my skill point to boost deceive from trained to focused and get it to be a +3.
Okay.
I think that works well with the like setting a trap and figuring out the best way to like follow the Wilders back.
Yeah, that makes sense. And none of you had conditions right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Just a little stress.
So nothing to clear. Well, with our heroes a little better, or at least a little changed, I think that is where we will wrap it up for this one. So, as always, thank you to everybody for joining us. Thank you for listening this week. If you are interested in more information on the game system or the setting, you can check the show notes, the episode description, to find more information on that. If you would like to hear more of the things that we have done, or watch them, or read them, or play them, because we have made many things, they're on our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/thecritshow to find some additional material.
Some very minor, just a little bit.
Just a small amount. What's each of you, if you were going to pitch one thing that is on our Patreon, what would it be?
Tales from the Omniverse.
Okay?
Oh, I was going to say that.
Great. Great. Keep that momentum going.
The one-off video episode of us doing Sexy Battle Wizards.
Oh, God.
All right. And no additional details. If you want to know what any of that means, go check out the Patreon.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get your name read at the end of an episode, just like Eldon86, Alex Klein, and Danny Scott. Thanks to you all. And tune in next time for another episode of the Crit Clockwind, the Crit Show,
the Crockwares.
Playing the Crockpots. Tune in for the Crockpots. Everybody say goodbye, please.
Bye.
Get me out of here.
Bye.
The Crit Show is a Crit Show Studios production, edited and produced by Brandon Wentz, with music by Jake Purley. You can find more information about us at thecritshowpodcast.com. To keep up to date with upcoming live shows, contests, and other special events, follow us at The Crit Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For even more weekly content, join us at patreon.com/thecritShow.